Waller, and everyone will tell you, well, they throw the ball to those tight ends all the time. Well, what does all the time mean? What's that number? So it's like 145 to 150. That would be an increase of 3 passes a game for this guy, which is very, very doable. I think you have to have another pass-catching tight end on the field or in the rotation to get this player loose, to give him some advantage, especially since some of the top receivers and some of the historically fine receivers in this team are gone. So, I want to bring your attention deep on that roster, deep on that depth chart. There's a tight end there that this coach had down in New Orleans named Alize Mack, who played with Claypool at Notre Dame. They were roommates. See, we got Claypool in pretty early tonight. But nevertheless, this is, we're going to see some players emerge on this Detroit team, and all of them are going to have contributory aspects in this offense. And we could continue way beyond the 2 minutes we have to talk about this player, but answer is yes. If you can get T.J. Hawkinson those extra 3 targets per game, then he's going to have production that's going to be similar to Waller, similar to Kelsey, who are first-round draft picks right now in the FFPC.
We could, and I'll tell you this right now, for anybody who's a fan of this show, we talk about tight ends quite a bit. This is not going to be the last time we talk about Hawkinson prior to Pros versus Joes or the start of the season. So you're home for Hawkinson, the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour, right here at blogtalkradio.com/HSFF and, of course, HSFFhour.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, time has come. We have kept you waiting long enough. The Pros versus Joes are revealed. Once again, these are the 42 names that will be making up the Joes portion of the FFPC Pros versus Joes contest this year. Each of these players will be put into a 12-team league with 5 other Joes versus 6 other pros. Each champion of those leagues will win a 2022 FFPC main event team. Without further ado, here are the Joes. There's some fresh names on here. There's some familiar names on here, and I will reveal all 42 of them right now. First off, in no particular order. These are completely randomized. These are not in alphabetical order or anything like that. So listen to the whole list all the way through to find out if you made it. Ryan Lips is first. He will be competing in the Pros vs. Joes competition this year along with Robert Trenz. The Golden Sack himself, Michael Apt, who you've heard on this show before, is going to be, and I believe he's been in Pros vs. Joes before, so he will be trying to win his way to a free main event team in 2022. Those are the first 3 names tonight. Curtis Hirsch, also going to be competing along with Michael Cobb. Mino Brown himself, a former guest of this show, will be competing for that free main event team in 2022. A guy you heard on these airwaves this past year during the Pros vs. Joes competition. Yeah, that's right. He was in last year. He made it again this year, got lucky in the drawing. It is the father and son team of Robert and Robbie Russell. They will be competing for those for that free main event team. J.C. Gifford, another guy, the pride of the New England area, a guy who has helped bring his own ice cream into the Meadowlands for consumption at all Patriots games. J.C. Gifford, welcome to Pros vs. Joes. Eric Rubin will be in, as well as Danny Mueller, another former guest of this show, the Blitzers, competing in the PVJ this year. When he is not helping his friends win Academy Awards out in Hollywood, he plays in the FFPC, and he will be playing in the Pros vs. Joes competition this year. Andrew Miller, Bashing Bunnies, welcome aboard. Jules Reed, a.k.a. Jay Reed, will be competing along with Eric Vanek, his co-owner. Somebody let him know. He's broadcasting live right now a Footballguys draft that he's in at Packers153 on Twitter. He is in Pros vs. Joes this year, so somebody let him know as he's busy trying to assemble a $500,000 winning team in the Footballguys contest. Jeffrey Berger and Dan Polner, that tandem will be competing. Another former guest of the show, Rob Vieira, is once again this year. Farrell, a duo near and dear to your hearts, the defending champions of the Kentucky Fantasy Football State Championship main event, Brad Petrie and Darren Larson in Pros vs. Joes this year. Very exciting to welcome those guys aboard. You heard him on these airwaves last week. You will be hearing his team going forward this year. Derek Kappas, welcome aboard to the Pros vs. Joes competition in 2021. Monty Fan. Yeah, you know Monty Fan. He won the regular season title in the FFPC main event for the points. He's a former Bare Knuckles champ. He's won 4 league titles. He is in with Matthew Jones again this year, straight out of Whatcom. Welcome to the Pros vs. Joes. Michael Guzilek and Joe Scosa, welcome into the, I believe they've been in the Pros vs. Joes competition many moons ago. They are in it again this year. Certainly going to be a force to be reckoned with. Mark and Amy Palmer also competing in Pros vs. Joes. That brings us total to 18 so far. I'm going to fly through the rest of them because I know I'm soaking up the drama here. Jeff Tirabassi, Cornfins will be in it this year, as well as Mike Stanowski, and then John Kleinfelder and Dave Byer, Fester and friend, will be in the Pros vs. Joes contest this year. Nick Thompson, welcome aboard. Another Kentucky Fantasy Football State Championship player. It's the tandem of Jason Kahn and Aaron Laser. They will be in Pros vs. Joes. Hey, he's in the chat room tonight. He's drafting right now. Hudson Kern-Reeve, the pride of Cornell University, is going to be drafting in the PBJ. Welcome aboard, Kern. Matt Stone and Andrew Stone. Matt and Andrew Stone will also be in it. Another guy in the chat room tonight. You know him as the Rainmaker, the notorious BIP. Biplab Mandel will bring his Bitcoin franchise into the Pros vs. Joes this year, along with Edward and Mike Vu. That tandem will be competing for that free main event team. Moving on, John Flake is in. Jay Harding is in as well, along with Lev Norian. That was John Flake, Jay Harding, and Lev Norian, bringing the total to 31 teams. Keith Douglas and Steve McMahon, welcome aboard. They'll be competing, that tandem, for that free main event team, along with David Strumeyer, Beth Riches, and Michael Sheffer, the return of Ashley and Allie to the return of the Pros vs. Joes. I think Mike Sheffer's been in before. I could be wrong on that, but he is going to be competing this year. Strumeyer, Riches, Sheffer, all aboard. Okay, only a few names left here. Robert Coe is in, as well as Jetshada Jeroboam is also going to be competing, along with another former Pros vs. Joes contestant, Richie Nishura, also in this year. You know him as the pride of Auburn. Yeah, John Shaw. He is in along with his co-manager, Jay Wenning, competing for the Pros vs. Joes title this year, as well as the Death Dealers, a.k.a. Team XXX. Also competing, two names left. It is Michael Reed, and then the final one, the Azell brothers. Bill and Don Azell, welcome aboard to the 2021 FFPC Pros vs. Joes competition. Congratulations to the winners. To those who didn't get selected, we thank you for your support, and the winners really as well. We had a ton of names this year in the drawing, much more than we had last year. Obviously, the COVID year, we didn't have as many people competing, but we had a ton this year. We certainly thank you for your support and cannot wait to hear from a lot of these Joes as we broadcast these drafts live here on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour, beginning at the end of next month, or towards the middle of next month, I should say. If you were selected, you heard your name tonight, Darren Armani will reach out to you to find out if you want to be in the one slow draft or one of the live drafts that you will hear right on these airways. Expect an email from Darren Armani here within the next 48 to 72 hours. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we've kept him on hold long enough. Let's welcome him aboard tonight onto the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour. It is indeed tonight's guest. He's been playing fantasy football for more than 25 years, starting with some local leagues, moving to the high stakes in the 2000s. He is a 14-time champion, including FFPC main event, FFPC satellite leagues, Footballguys Players Championship leagues as well. And we're going to talk to him about how his drafts have been going on so far this summer. Please welcome into the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour. You follow him on Twitter at RhinosFFB. It is Alex Bulazo. Alex, thank you for hopping aboard with us tonight.
Bulky, what's up, my brother? How you doing?
I'm doing good, and I have to come clean here because I said I revealed 42 names. I only revealed 41. The 42nd, it's you, my friend. You are the 42nd team into the Pros vs. Joes competition this year. Congratulations, man. You're the last team in. How's it feel?
That's what dude, I got to tell you, I literally was like, what the F do I have to do? How many chickens do I have to kill? How many, chakras do I have to cleanse to get into this Pros vs. Joes, bro? Oh, I'm pumped now. That's really freaking cool, dude. Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Well, it worked out. I thought I'd reveal this on air once we got you on air tonight. You've never been in before, so you got to. You got to start pumping the strategy. How do I win? How do I win PBJ? Because this is you've been drafting a lot of Football Guys teams, but as far as the Pros vs. Joes, they're all slim leagues now. So now you got to readjust your strategy, right?
Yeah, but I'm kind of digging the slim leagues, man. Like I've done, I think, a whole bunch of those, the $5 ones, which are really fun, by the way. Anyone who's not jumping in and doing a $5, just to practice and have fun is crazy because it's really cool. But the best ball tournament is a slim. And I'm really digging that. I think it's a great concept. I mean, it's been interesting how in the first couple, like I've kind of changed the way that I decided to put a team together. So, I'm excited. It'll be really cool. I can't tell you how pumped I am, dude. Thank you.
Well, you're very welcome. Welcome aboard. Congratulations, and thanks for your support of the FFPC. We will, I promise to the listeners, we will get deep into fantasy football analysis. Alex, you have an interesting job. Why don't you tell the listeners what you're doing out on the West Coast when you are not busy being selected into the PVJ this year?
Yeah, man. I basically just eat cookies for a living all day. Like I'm staring at a stack of chocolate chip cookies right now. I actually own a wholesale bakery in the Bay Area, and I've been doing this for about 25 years. So it's pretty cool. It's I don't know. Every time I think I'm going to lose the last 20 or 30 pounds that I need to lose, or actually probably 60 pounds I really need to lose, it just doesn't happen because we're making something new. But it's a cool gig, and it's rewarding.
Congratulations with that, brother, and congratulations with your resume here in the FFPC.
Thank you, man. It's great to meet you. It's great to finally connect with you too, bro.
Oh, thank you. I tell you, some guys that are going to be connecting for the first time this year will be playing for the New York Jets. I have looked at this roster, and I'm rather intrigued about it. There's new players coming in, both through the draft and through free agency, and their effect, along with the new coaching staff, that it might have on some of the remaining players is what has intrigued me. Now, it's hard to get excited about some of the Jets based on the history of the franchise, but when you begin to look at, for our purposes, in the fantasy drafts that you've been doing, that I've been doing, it becomes obvious that if these guys can play at all, they're significant bargains because they're going in the double digits and sometimes the late double digits of these drafts. So have you experienced the same thing? Have you looked at the Jets and said, hey, these are some players I can get in business with and take a shot with as these drafts move along? And if you have, who are among your favorites?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think this year, I've moved them off of my don't touch toxic wasteland list, of players to, there's some value there, right? I mean, the reality is that I believe the Jets are going to be the 49ers East. I mean, they got Salah. I feel like, they have a lot of the same, they've got a lot of coaches that have moved over. And I really feel they're going to establish the run. They're going to be, it's ground and pound. They got a great tackle from last year. In the 14th pick or 13th pick this year, they upgraded, their guard, a monster who's just going to be a road grader. So I think they're going to establish the run, and I think they're going to not put it all on Wilson's shoulders until they can find a couple solid wide receivers. So, I mean, I know this is crazy, but, I mean, even you're looking at, Michael Carter is out, 7.4 right now is where he's going, around 7.4. I mean, you got a guy who's probably going to get the ball a ton. There's no one else on that roster who's going to carry the ball like he can. I mean, you watch him in college, this guy, he's just a really good running back. That's kind of a value for a potential running back one for a team that's rebuilding itself. And then I got to tell you, Elijah Moore, I mean, this is another kid. I mean, him and Wilson could be a really great hookup. What is he going? He's going 12.11, right, in drafts, wide receiver 56. That kid, man, I mean, if you watched him in college, he is really great. He runs great routes, great hands, catches everything out front, super tough. I mean, this is a guy who's, really could be the next Jamison Crowder kind of player in that Jets mold because, I'm a big Crowder fan and have been. But I can see Wilson and Elijah Moore connecting, rookie level coming up. They're just super, just super talented. So, if I was going to target someone in those double-digit rounds, Elijah Moore for sure. I have him in a whole bunch of places right now as it is. But even Michael Carter, that's a guy at 7.4 who could be your RB1, and you take a flyer on him if you're doing a reverse, or doing a zero running back kind of draft.
Let me ask you one quick thing.
Crazy.
What do you think? This is the FFPC. We've always got to pay attention to that